hand strength. He's got those chesticles that'll be able to stop anybody. He varies his burst off the snap, so he's going to show, like, hey, I'm going to stay back. I'm not going to push you too hard. But then when I need to be aggressive, I'm going to push you a little bit harder with these two big hands that I got right here. His initial quickness and lateral agility for this size of a guy is impressive, and that's why he was going first round. In addition to this, Gary is technically sound and competitive. He loves winning. Come on, man. Who doesn't like winning? I like winning. You like winning. Once you win, you get a beer. That's always good. So, leveraging battle up the line of scrimmage by sprawling out his legs to anchor him shows that he's a blue-collar farm boy who's going to basically say, hey, I'm going to toss you just like I tossed this bale of hay into a wagon. You're gone. You're not going to get past me. Well, maybe you will, but then I'll just, do a roundhouse sort of like swim move and take you down onto the ground. Maybe give you a little blue sky. Put you like a turtle on your back. You're going to be looking up to the sky saying, what the hell happened? Man, this guy I am very, very excited about. And I hope that he lives up to his expectations because, to be honest, I want an O-line Hall of Famer. And I think, maybe. We'll see. As you say, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road. Depends on how his knees, arms, and, elbows hold up. But I can see him being a good asset.
There you go. And for the Bills, Ed Oliver, the defensive tackle out of Houston, we needed to replace our longtime defensive tackle, Kyle Williams, who retired after many, many, many good seasons with the Bills, is going to be stepping into that spot. And he's going to dominate. I mean, he at one point was rated the number one overall player in this draft at one point. And I think he has the potential to be that. I just think he needs a lot of just raw development. He's very talented, but overall, he's got a lot to work with. And again, being that defensive stud, he was great as a freshman out of Houston. He's improved every single year. And overall, he's going to get better. But it's just going to have to take a lot of time. And he'll be good. I think he'll be good. He's just going to need some work. Year one's probably going to be a little bit rough. But we'll see how it goes. Tom, Dwayne Haskins, the quarterback out of Ohio State, he was the one that was projected to be the first quarterback drafted out of this crop of quarterbacks. But then, of course, everything changed when Arizona hired Cliff Kingsbury, and he said, you know what, I'm going to go with Kyler Murray, and you know what, say screw this. So Dwayne Haskins overall, it's so funny how he is going to be drafted to his hometown team. While he was a Giants fan growing up, he went to the Bullis School down in Maryland, and so he's very familiar with the DMV, D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. And now he's going to be the starting quarterback probably opening night for the Washington Redskins. They don't have a lot of options right now. Obviously, Alex Smith and his devastating knee injury, he's probably not going to ever play again. That's my guess. I mean, he's 30-odd years old. I mean, it's really unlikely that that's going to happen. He traded for Case Keenum, but we know that overall Case Keenum's career has kind of been up and down, and particularly his best season was two seasons ago with Minnesota. So, we'll see how he pans out there. And, of course, Colt McCoy, the third quarterback. I mean, I don't know. We already know what he is, I would say. There's not much else to say about Colt McCoy. He's a reliable backup quarterback, but outside of that, we know where we stand with him. But Dwayne Haskins, look, he's got the arm, he's got the pedigree. Again, one season at Ohio State. Tommy, does Dwayne Haskins fall to number 15 a godsend to the Washington Redskins?
Yeah, it depends on how you want to see it. To be honest, when I look at Dwayne Haskins, I'm probably going to say 2 letters and 1 number, RG3. I can see some potential for a classic sort of power arm / mobility here, but they might keep him as a pocket passer because he did excel a little bit at that, but I think he does have the opportunity to move around in the pocket. He needs some footwork polishing, apparently. He needs a lot of patience, especially in the pocket, and a lot of chutzpah, if you know what I mean. A lot of huevos. Because when there's a heavy blitzing team, he's got some issues there, and that was noticeable in some of the Michigan games that he played in. So, is it a godsend? Sure, for a potential future, but as you said, Case Keenum, he might actually, I would say the same thing should happen, just like that Duke boy, basically. Just let him sit for a little bit. Don't rush too many things because it could end up like a Josh Rosen sort of thing. And got the top pick, he's going to do so awesome, but then he flunks out, and he already is in, Miami, I think? So he's already in the retirement league. Yeah, he just needs, I would say, a little bit of time to, groom him and to make him a better person and not some a-hole. So
I mean, I don't know. It's interesting that you mentioned Josh Rosen, Tom. I mean, look, when he was never he had no idea what was going on throughout the process of when Cliff Kingsbury was brought on. There was an inkling that Kyler Murray would be drafted, and even leading up to the draft, people were like, "Look, we'll see what happens." There was still that possibility that that Murray was not going to go to Arizona. But once he was, the writing was on the wall. It was just a matter of time to find a trading partner, and his trade value diminished over the 24, 48 hours after the draft, because who's going to give a first-round pick for a guy that, granted, it was his first year, he had no offensive line, no offensive weapons, really, outside of Larry Fitzgerald and an injured David Johnson, that were going to protect him. And his, again, offensive line, garbage. It just wasn't going to work out. And a lot of his draft stock was really based in the fact, was dipping because of the fact of his views. Not necessarily bad, but he just is just outsmarts coaches, is better in some respects from an intelligence standpoint than the average quarterback or even NFL player, which for many people is upsetting, and it's not fun to have that kind of attitude. But as he was leaving Arizona, he did nothing but the best. He wished Kyler Murray the best. He stayed for Larry Fitzgerald's charity softball game. And he was very thankful for his time in Arizona. He was very professional, which I think says a lot to his character, potentially his growth over the last, I would say, 12 months, as not just a quarterback, but as a person saying, look, I could be a top 10 pick one year, and clearly he was traded the next year for a third-round pick and I believe a second-round pick in this year or next year's draft, which is pretty crazy to think about. How is he going to do in Miami? We'll see. I mean, it's so funny that now Josh Rosen, Josh Allen, and Sam Darnold, all quarterbacks of last year's draft that were in the top 10 are now going to have to face against Tom Brady 2 times a year. So for him to be the old guy in the room, that's going to be, that should be very interesting for sure. Tommy, I know you had
making food over on your end.
No, Carly is just getting ready for her first soccer game. So now she's drinking some water, putting that down. So that should be fairly exciting. Just watch. The cats are meowing at this point too, so it's kind of annoying. And you're probably going to hear that over the next 20 minutes.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a loud meow, but come on, let's get some deeper meows in there. Meow.
I know, it's so bad. But now we're letting him outside because these cats are dicks, quite frankly. Trying to get them out. Hold on. There you go. Nope.
Oh, you got a whip over there or something?
No, I just clapped my hands.
Yeah, okay, well.
Yeah.
Yay, Sam.
Yeah. Well, let Carly know. Look, keep the cats out for a while because they keep meowing. And now we're good. Yay! Awesome. Thank you, Carly. Love you. All right. No. Yep. This is why we do a live podcast. These things are going to be unedited and not fun, not exciting. And just little things like that. But going back to the draft, Tom, you guys had a second pick in the first round, Darnell Savage Jr., a senior out of Maryland, who I know a little bit. Just watching Maryland football, I don't watch it very often, but they were actually not that bad this year, and a lot of it had to do with Savage's presence. I know you guys signed Amos from the Bears, also as a safety. But did you like the pick? Were you a little taken aback by it? What were your thoughts on this pick, Tom?
Well, I'm honestly going to say that I have no opinion on this one, just because. It's a good pick. Our defense has sucked since 2011. Clinton Dix brought some life to it. Clay Matthews has been good, but not as stellar as he was during that one season. Biggest star of that Packers defense back then was B.J. Raji. I still have his jersey. I love him. If you're listening, man, you were like the awesome person to watch, especially in the Super Bowl when you had that pick and you ran it in. You decided to do that little dance. Oh my gosh, I need to see that again, B.J. That's a whole nother story. Darnell Savage Jr. Okay, let's go point by point.
Boom.
Coordinated Lightfoot athlete.
Yep.
Good. Quickness, agility, excellence.
Yay.
Man-to-man coverage, responsibilities. Sure. Played running back and receiver in high school, so he has those ball skills just in case he wants to become like Revis Island and try and snap the ball away from some people. Good for him. That's another good point. Has zero hesitation as a tackler, which means he's going to go full force at you. Let's say you do like a Brian Dawkins sort of tackle, even though you might get fined. And by Marshawn Lynch's words, I'm here just so I don't get fined. I'm okay with this pick.
All right.
I'm glad we got this pick. Let's hope that he becomes a good defensive person.
Yep, exactly. And I'm not going to talk about the rest of the picks because honestly, they don't matter. It's boring. To talk about picks 2 through 7, it's not interesting at all to anybody unless it's your team, which, again, you can find out on your own. They're your own team. I already know what we drafted, and I thought we did very well. Tom, I think you guys also did very well. So it's just but again, we'll never know. At least not for now. We'll know in 5 years, but that's okay. So, Tom, I'm going to talk about LeSean McCoy for a second. And I'm pretty sure you probably know why. If anyone saw the Avengers movie, I still haven't seen it. And I don't care if you spoil it for me. You can, if you want. I have no emotional investment to any superhero movie, or really any movie in general. Like, I'm not that tied into anything that's... Like, and even sports. Like, I'm like, people who watch games... and record them and wait till after they get off whatever they're doing, whether it be work or another commitment. And people get mad when they spoil it. Like, look, the game is live. Like, that's the thing. The movie is already happening, and then again, this is just my perspective, Tom. So I mean, you can rebut if you want. But LeSean McCoy over the weekend took his son to watch the new Avengers Endgame movie. And he had spoiled it to many fans who were very upset, and there was apparently a petition to get him off the team in Buffalo. And honestly, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit probably more. I could talk about this as a final topic, but we can talk about this now because, again, it's a drinking podcast. We don't really necessarily might not have a final topic because we'll be so drunk. We'll just be rambling on forever. Honestly, if you can't stay off social media and you get a spoiler, that's on you. I'm sorry. Like, at a certain point, like, I just can't. Like, just don't talk to people or just tell people in advance, hey, do not tell me this. Because there are people who talk, who are big mouth people. I'm one of those people every now and again. But I'm not going to be upset if someone in the next couple of days spoils it before I watch it. Because watching it's a unique experience. It's 3 hours long, which, Jesus, it's a long movie. 3 hours and I think a minute. And I don't know. Tom, what are your thoughts? I mean, should LeSean McCoy really be vilified that much?
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Okay. So, for those of you who are not Marvel fans, let me break this down for you. If you watch a TV series for so long, just like Marvel, 11 years, 21 movies, spanning from about an hour and 30 minutes to the 3-hour beautiful cinematic that the Russo brothers did. You do not mess with the ending. It is like basically, how can I put this? If many people have heard about this, there was a person overseas that decided to spoil it after they saw it as well. Well, this guy also got beat the heck up, and his face was blurry because of how much blood and stuff was coming off his face because he ruined a strong plot point. The fact that LeSean McCoy decided to do this on Twitter is just, I'm not going to say asinine or anything like that, but apparently basically.
But Tom, social media, like, everything happens in real time. Like people around the world are on the website. They're on Facebook, whatever platform you want. I mean, can't you stay off it for a couple days? Like